Anderson, your independent consultant for Pampered Chef, back with you again today. And today we are going to make one of my absolute favorite dishes, carnitas, which is really just a Mexican style pulled pork. So without further ado, let's get at it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a 3.5 to 5 pound pork shoulder. I prefer it with the bone in. You can get boneless. If you get boneless, make sure it's closer to the 4 to 5 pound range. And what I did with this was rinse it and dry it so it's ready to go. And now we're going to make a paste to put on the pork. So what we need is 1 tablespoon of oregano, which I'm going to use my Pampered Chef graduated measuring spoon for. So a tablespoon of that. Then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cumin. So, and finally, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to use extra virgin olive oil. I like the little bit of fruity flavor that it has, so that's what we're going to do. So 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Now, since I'm going to get my hands dirty doing this anyway, I'm just going to take our ingredients and I'm going to give them a little stir with my finger, get them all well incorporated. And what you're going to end up with is kind of like a mealy paste, okay? So what you're going to do is take that paste out of there. Actually, I'm only going to take about half. And you're going to start giving the pork some love. If you've ever watched barbecue competitions or barbecue shows, they'll tell you, you know, you really want to rub the seasoning into the meat. So that's what we're doing here. Okay, I'm going to flip it over, do the other side. Now you may notice that there's quite a bit of fat on this pork shoulder, and that's okay, because once it cooks out, the liquid that's left over we're going to reserve, but what we're going to do is we're going to skim the fat off of it. Okay? So right now the fat is just there to keep the moisture in the roast as it cooks. So we're going to make sure we get some on every side of this. All right, fantastic. That part's done. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go and sit this in our slow cooker. All right, now that we're done prepping the pork itself, it's time to prep our veggies that are going to go into the slow cooker with the pulled pork to give it some extra flavor. So what I've got in this bowl is 1 onion and 1 jalapeno that I've chopped up with my food chopper. I've actually got a little bit left to do. So we'll finish that up, dump that in our bowl. All right, now that we're done prepping the pork itself, it's time to prep our veggies that are going to go into the slow cooker with the pulled pork to give it some extra flavor. So what I've got in this bowl is 1 onion and 1 jalapeno that I've chopped up with my food chopper. I've actually got a little bit left to do. So we'll finish that up, dump that in our bowl. All right, what we need next are 4 cloves of garlic, and of course if you've got the Pampered Chef garlic press, you don't need to peel your cloves. You just pop them right in there, put that hammer down, and squeeze. So that's 1, and you'll see when you pop it out, all that's left is the skin. Alright, now I'm just going to grab the little cleaning tool off of here and get the last of the garlic off the press. And we are all good to go. So I'm going to give this a quick little mix. Again, I'm going to get my hands dirty doing this, so I might as well just do it by hand. Now we're going to head over and we're going to put this on top of the roast. Alright, so we are over at our slow cooker with our veggies. Remember, that's the jalapeno, the garlic, and the onion. Before we put that in, we're going to add 2.5 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper. We're going to mix that together a little bit. And we're just going to dump this on top of the roast. Don't worry about spreading it around. Once it starts cooking and we finish the prep, it's all going to spread out anyway. So just go ahead and dump that on top. Alright, now that we've got the veggies on top of the roast, there's just one more step before we get this thing cooking. And that's to add 3/4 of a cup of orange juice. So all I've done is cut 2 oranges. Alright, now that we've added our veggies to the roast, there's just one more step before we're ready to get this thing cooking, and that's to add 3/4 of a cup of orange juice. So what I've done is taken my Pampered Chef 5-inch Santoku knife, cut these oranges in half, and now I'm going to use one of my favorite Pampered Chef tools to extract the juice, and it's this citrus squeeze. This thing is amazing. It gets all the juice out, no waste. So in case you haven't seen this used before, what you're going to do is place your fruit cut side down. I know it may seem a little counterintuitive given the fact that, you know, it would seem to fit so well the other way. That's the way I did it the first time, and then I was told that I was using it upside down. And you're just going to push down on the handle. You can see how easy that is. And when you're done, there's nothing left there. All the juice is gone. So I'll keep doing this, and then we'll be back. Alright, so you can see we're back over at the slow cooker. Our veggies are on top of our roast. Now it's time to add the orange juice. I'm just going to pour it from the spout on my measure-all cup, right over the roast. There we go. Alright, now it's time to get this thing cooking. I'm going to put my lid on, and you can either do this for 6 hours on high in your slow cooker or 10 hours on low. So we're going to set this, and away it goes. We'll see you in a few hours. Alright, our pork is finally out of the slow cooker. As you can see, it came out in pieces because it got so tender while it was cooking. So all I've done is take it out of the slow cooker, put it on the cutting board. I removed all that extra fat that I showed you earlier, and I poured all the juices from the slow cooker into a large measuring cup so the fat can float to the top and be skimmed off. All we're going to do now is take a couple of forks and shred up this meat. Alright, and we are done shredding up our pork. So we're going to head over to the stovetop very shortly, but first I want to skim the fat off the top of this juice. So you can see that the fat has risen to the top, and when we say skimming, what we mean is to take like a spoon or a ladle, and you're just going to push it just below to break the surface of the liquid. And that fat is going to come right into your ladle. You don't want to push it down too far or else you end up getting juice. Alright, so we're over here at the stovetop, and as you can see, we've got about 3 cups of the liquid from the slow cooker left after skimming the fat. What we really want to do is reduce it down to 2 cups. So I'm going to pour this into a pot. turn the heat on high. And I'm going to cook that down to 2 cups. It's going to concentrate the flavors, and it's going to make a great addition to our pork. Alright, so we've got our liquid from the slow cooker reduced to about the 2-cup mark. So now it's time to prepare the carnitas for serving. What I've got here is a fairly large frying pan with just a little bit of oil in it. And to that, I'm going to add some of the carnitas. And spread them around. Now that pan's over medium-high heat. Okay, now that the carnitas are in the pan, we're not going to touch them. We're just going to let them fry for a couple of minutes. The idea behind this is to get a little bit of caramelization and a little bit of crisp on the meat. You don't want to toss it and make all the meat crisp because then it may get dry. So we're just going to leave this for a couple of minutes and we'll be back. Alright, we're back, and our carnitas are well on their way to having one side crisped up. So that means it's time to prepare our tortillas. We're using white corn flour tortillas. These are the traditional Mexican style of tortilla. And what I'm going to do is warm a few up on my center griddle here. If you don't have one of these, just use a nice big frying pan. It'll all work the same. So let's get a few of these on there. Now you just want the tortillas to be warm. You don't want them to get dry and crispy. So you're only going to leave them on there for about 30 seconds. Alright, so now we're ready to finish these off. So we're going to take a little bit of our Pico de Gallo. We're going to throw on a little bit of our pickled onion. Some chopped up cheese. Now these are cheese curds that I bought, and I let them come to room temperature. Then I threw them in my Pampered Chef food chopper and crumbled them down to a small size. So we'll put some cheese on each. And finally, the last touch, a little bit of cilantro on each. There you have it, guys. Fresh carnitas tacos. Hope you enjoy them.